Welcome to Thrive University. Before we get to today's big question of the day, just to let everyone know that there is a Thrive University class on May 9th and 10th in Phoenix, Arizona. For those who are interested, please visit curtiscloak.com or give us a yell. We're more than happy to answer any questions you have about it. All right, so today's big question. Today's big question, Advisor John has a client who comes to him about considering a Roth conversion. John's client said he paid no taxes last year, and that all he has is Social Security income and some investment income. And he's considering a Roth conversion because he thinks he would pay little or no taxes. Is John prepared to explain the pitfalls of a conversion and how to manage those if they are manageable? Do you know? Do you have the answer? Well, let's talk about what that might be. So John's client has $60,000 of taxable of gross Social Security. You'll see in this display here, we have a before and an after, basically. And both columns, you'll see that they have the same Social Security income. They also have the same taxable income. There's about $10,000 of ordinary income interest and about $17,000 of qualified dividend capital gains, which are taxed at lower rates. We're also, for comparison, going to show what would it look like with $40,000 of a Roth conversion. So when we look at what they're currently standing, they have about $10,000 of ordinary income, and then they have their Social Security, which is calculated through the provisional formula, and of course their capital gains and dividends. And what we get is an AGI of approximately $44,000. When we subtract out the standard deduction, we're left with approximately $15,000. And how the math works, that entire $15,000 of taxable income that's left is all out of the qualified dividend. Right? So when we do that, let's click on this. See, there's our net $15,000 after the standard deduction. Now there's our taxable portion of our capital gains. No, it's not the whole $17,000 of our capital gains. Since we only have $15,000 that's taxable, only 15 would be subject to the 0% bracket because we are in the bottom bracket. And of course, 0% of 15,000 is zero. Our client would not have any tax exposure prior to a Roth conversion. So what happens with the Roth? What's the answer here? Well, a couple of things happen that really impact this. We'll note the first thing is I go from $10,000 to $50,000 of ordinary income. Why? Well, that went from the baseline, which was just interest income, and now I have the taxation from the Roth, which makes it $50,000 of taxable. This has a substantial impact on our taxable Social Security. We can see now that our taxable Social Security has gone up substantially. And when you combine everything, ordinary income, the Social Security, and of course our qualified dividends and capital gains, which is a separate calculation, but the total AGI now is almost $70,000, more than $70,000 greater from the $40,000 Roth conversion than without it. So now for that Roth conversion, not only do I pay the tax on $40,000, but I also now have to pay taxes on $30,000 more of my Social Security, about $34,000. So once I take out my standard deduction, you can see my taxable income is up substantially. And now I'm piercing that 22% bracket. And what that means is once I pierce it, any money that over the ordinary income portion that's capital gains that goes into that's going to be taxed at 15. So even though all my ordinary income, which is under you'll see it's $72,000, is below, is still in the 12% bracket. The capital gains, the gap between these two, the taxable amount and the ordinary income, that's my capital gains qualified dividends. Part of that is now in the 22% bracket. Well, is now part of it in the 15% bracket for capital gains. So what we can see is that now my capital gains, it's not fully taxed at 15% because only a part of it goes into the higher bracket, but some of it's being taxed at 15, whereas none of it was being taxed at 15 before. So now I'm going to pay taxes on my Roth conversion, taxes on more Social Security. But now I'm paying taxes on my capital gains as well, or a portion of them. See, I've gone from 0 to 15%. When I add this all up, what I'm facing is about $10,000 in taxes for a $40,000 conversion. If you do the math, it's about 24% in taxes on a conversion that the client thought they would only have to pay 10 or 12. Is this the right move or not? There's many more questions involved. We don't know what they have. This is a static look. You don't have a look at their big picture, a comprehensive look. They may actually make sense because they may be forced to, when the RMDs kick in, to do this. I don't know. We don't know if income is involved. This is where we have to have a much more comprehensive look at something for a client. But if we're looking at a static look for a client, and the answer is what your exposure is, you should be prepared not just to tell a client, oh, you're in the 12% bracket, you'll pay 12% in taxes. That might not be true. Thank you very much for listening today. Stay on for a second or two for a message from Tom Hagna. Thank you for today. Take care.
Hey, Tom Hegna here. I've written 5 books on retirement. Many of you know that. But I'll tell you, I've also attended Thrive University multiple times. Curtis Cloak is a personal friend of mine. He does some of my own personal financial work. And I will tell you, if you like the stuff that I do and you want to go deeper, you ought to attend Thrive University. I'm telling you, this is not for beginners. It is not a beginner's course. But if you want to go deep, deep, deep in the weeds, I'm telling you, nobody knows this like Curtis Cloak does. So hope to see you at a Thrive University in the future.